Hmm. Ti-dum ba da 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 ya da da dee 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 da dee da dee da do ya da dee 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 da dee da dum ba dee dum dee 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 da dee da dum bum 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 dum ba dee da. Hey yo ya da ya da dee da dee 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 dee. Hey ya dee da da ya da da. Hey ya da da da. All right. Welcome,
What
folks.
is thanking Yontif, Rabbi?
Yes, as
It's
we
the second
continue.
day, right?
The second day was actually it was yesterday, but we continue today. Actually, we're making our Farbringen in-house over here today. So yes,
Oh, very
we,
nice.
we we continue. Thank you, thank you. How are you?
I went to Fabring last night. It was very nice.
Beautiful.
Tired.
Yes, part of the territory of Farbringen, right? Thank you for sharing, Mark. Welcome to one and all. To Michael in Germany. Mark, where are you?
Chicago.
In Chicago, the Windy City. TJ Terrence is in Melbourne, Australia. We're very late over there. Clem in Brisbane. Also, a fellow Australian joining us. We have John in North Carolina. Mandy is in Arkansas. Welcome, shalom. Susan in Scranton, Pennsylvania. June is also an Australian. A lot of heavy duty Australian present representation here. Erica in Norway, shalom. Andrea is with us in Phoenix. Good morning. Diane in Arizona, with us a whole day. Deborah in Kitchener, welcome. Jackie is, I'm not certain where, but Boker Tov to you. Jessica, good morning to you. Daphne is in South Carolina joining us. Jessica, you're in New York, okay? Together with Davida and Liva, New Yorkers. Who else is joining us? Eugene is in Calgary, where lots of snow and cold. Leah is in the other part of the world called Florida, where it's nice and warm. Pang is in the Philippines. Welcome. Tim in Texas. Good morning. Who else is with us? Mark, welcome. We have Batya joining us with Michael, Leslie, David, Merle, Aliana, Adam, Marcy, David, Tanmay. I don't know if I pronounced that right. But welcome. Okay. We have Instagrammers with us. Rachel in South Carolina, Yenta Telebenta. We have Aqua in Peru. And Bella. Chantel. Okay, Chantel. Let's hear good news. Okay, folks. Denise in New Jersey's with us. Susie, good morning. Okay. Folks, good time to be here. Rena in Colorado, welcome. Julia's in Pennsylvania. Welcome. As we continue with the compiler's forward. Yesterday the Alter Rebbe spoke about the argument for not writing this book. And the argument was pretty simple. Authors of books can speak to a certain segment of people, but not to all. Even if it's holy books, and holy books meaning Torah, is meant to speak to everybody. So someone who is a sage and is giving teachings over it, so those teachings will be able to talk to everybody, because everybody has their letter in Torah, their place in Torah, but to find that place is not so easy. So you're going to read it from a sefer, from a Torah book that's going to try to help you. Not necessarily you're going to find yourself there. You're going to find the answers that you need in life in the service of God, because not everybody's capable of that, to find it, even if the answers are there. And that was an argument against writing the book as opposed to private audiences with the Alter Rebbe, for his followers, for those who needed guidance, wanted guidance in their life. That's what he spoke about yesterday. But now he's going to make the argument for the book. That's a pretty powerful one. Says the Alter Rebbe, I speak, however, to those who know me well, each and every one from Anash. Anash means from the Hasidic community that he knows in this country and nearby countries, who we've had affectionate words in exchange in private audience. And you've revealed to me all the hidden recesses of your heart in the matters that are related to the service of God, which of course is dependent on the heart. To them shall my words seep through, and shall my tongue take the form of a scribe's pen, and that these Likutei Amarim, compilation of teachings, that have been compiled from books and teachers, from the teachings of the wise. He's referring to, of course, his teacher, the Judaism.Chabad, the Baal Shem Tov. He's also referring to Remendel of Vitebsk, who lived in Israel at that time. The great sages of his time, and the great, holy people. All of them. So all of them, in other words, are answers to the many questions posed continually by the people who are seeking advice, each according to their stature in their service of God. So, in order to receive the proper guidance for each and every one, who again, he said he knows exactly what's on their heart. He knows exactly where they're at and what their issues, right? And for them now to receive the proper guidance in how to serve God, he says, time doesn't allow or permit me to reply to everybody individually in their particular question in the service of God. And furthermore, he says, also forgetfulness is common, right? So you hear something verbally and you get an answer for something, you might forget it. Based on this, concludes the Alter Rebbe and says, I have therefore recorded all of the replies to all the questions, and I preserved them as a sign and a reminder in everybody's mind, meaning in the book. Every question that you have in life about the service of God, I've now given the replies to all of those questions in this book. And therefore, no longer will you need to press for private audience, because these Likutei Amarim, these 53 chapters, he's referring to, the first part of Tanya, you will find tranquility for your soul a true counsel on everything that you find difficult in the service of God. And therefore your heart will be firmly secure in God, who completes and perfects us all. Now, continues, the evidence says, some of you might find it difficult to understand and how to actually get the advice that you need from these teachings. It may not be, forewarning. It may not be so simple. You may not be able to find the advice. Let them, whoever has difficulty to find the advice on their own, which, for most of us that would probably be the case, let them go to the scholars in their town or that they have a connection to enlighten them. In other words, seek advice from those who know more that can help you with the teachings of the Tanya, and they will enlighten you. Now he says to the scholars or to those who know, I request of you not to put your hand to your mouth, meaning to keep silent, because that would be false humility. Oh, you're coming to me for advice. How can I help you? No. Don't do that. As is known, the bitter punishment for those who withhold food, and that's a metaphor, food meaning Torah knowledge, because the Torah knowledge feeds us and gives us vitality. So someone who withholds food because they have a knowledge of something and they don't share it with another, that's a bitter thing, a bitter punishment. So he's saying to those who know, don't withhold from those who need guidance. And also how great the reward is when those who do know and share, as our sages say in the verse in Mishlei, King Solomon, God enlightens the eyes of both of them. So simple references for the pauper and the wealthy man. Both are enlightened and given a light, not just, the recipient, but the giver too. And the Talmud applies the idea of pauper, that real pauper is only someone who is without knowledge, without Torah knowledge. And the wealthy is the ones who have Torah knowledge. So in other words, not only is there if you don't share your knowledge with someone who is seeking advice on how to serve God, and they can't find the answers to everything in these teachings, and they come to you, not only is there a punishment if you withhold, but there's a great reward if you give that teachings and that knowledge, and you help the one who doesn't know. There's a great, that God will enlighten the eyes of both of you. In other words, you will get a lot more from giving than just, learning on your own and becoming even a greater scholar for yourself. God will cause his face to shine upon both of you. The light of his countenance will provide life, will give you life by you giving life to another. May he who provides life and to the living grant us the privilege of living to see the days where no longer actually we will need a teacher. Why? Because you will know me. We will all know from the smallest to the greatest in times of Mashiach. For then the knowledge of God will fill the earth as the waters fill the sea. Amen. Ken Yeritzon. Amen. May it so be his will. In conclusion, in the forward, the Alter Rebbe says that these pamphlets that have been distributed to the community, originally they were pamphlets handwritten, they were transcribed, and there were a lot of textual errors, some errors that were done purposefully by people who wanted to, bring down the Alter Rebbe and his teachings. Therefore, there's men of noble spirit who have generously have moved to make a personal and financial effort to make sure that it should be printed appropriately. I congratulate them on their worthy deed. And cursed, as the verse says, also cursed will be the person who encroaches on a person's border. In other words, this is their border. This is what they've printed, and no one should encroach upon their investment and print without their permission for the next 5 years. May be pleasant for those who comply, and may they be blessed with good. These are the words of the compiler of the aforementioned Likutei Amarim. Likutei means the compilation of teachings, of sayings. And with that, the forward is concluded. So some powerful statements. All questions will be answered in this one book. This one book, all the questions that you have will be answered. I mean, you're not going to find an answer to how to manipulate in business. You're not going to find an answer to how to become, I don't know, whatever. You will be able to find an answer for business. How you're supposed to deal in business, yes. And through this, you will find tranquility in your soul and true counsel in all difficult issues in the service of God. Wow. Extremely powerful. Extremely beautiful. Okay. Any questions, any comments, any thoughts on this?
Rabbi, I have a question or two.
Sure, go ahead.
How many actual direct source book material are considered the Tanya? Because I know I've seen 4, maybe 5. And then are they all compilations and letters?
You mean, what's the Alter Rebbe's source for his teachings?
No, the actual books, the compilations. How many books of Tanya are there?
Oh, there's there. Yeah, no. So first of all, this is a foreword for the first book, which is 53 chapters. This is, the base. When we speak about this, is called Sefer Shalbeinani, the book of the intermediate, right? To become completely, to be able to master in thought, speech, and action, and to be in control of our lives, not to be out of control. Right, so that's what this is. Second book is Shar Yichud Ve'emunah, is the physics of the universe, understanding God as creator. The third book is Geras HaTshuva, is the epistle of Tshuva, teaching us the concept of Tshuva in depth. What does it mean, repentance? The fourth book are letters that are all different types, 32 different letters that he wrote, primarily to communities. I think all of them are to communities, or to a community, or communities in general. And the fifth, which we just concluded a few days ago, were 9 essays of Kuntres Achrein on challenging questions that were not dealt with earlier in seemingly contradiction in teachings from the Zohar, from the Eitz Chaim, pre-Eitz Chaim, and so on and so forth. So those are the 5 books. But this compiler's foreword is only in reference to the first book, Sefer Shalbeinani, or Likutei Amarim, a compilation of sayings. Okay?
Thank you very much.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it.
Norm? Share with us, Norm.
Good morning, Rabbi, and everybody.
Good
Thank
morning.
you so much for your offering. So, I'll try to be as quick as possible. I try to listen to something in the morning while making my coffee. So who came up on my YouTube feed? Rabbi Manis Friedman.
Mm.
I'm listening to Rabbi Manis Friedman. He says, if you want to know more about Tanya, there's a fellow who's very good. He really understands Tanya, Rabbi Fine. This happened about 5 minutes ago.
Wow. That's cute.
I said to, so this is Rabbi Friedman speaking to you, according to him. And I said to Rabbi Fine, could you sum up all of Tanya in one sentence? When Rabbi Fine said to him, and he's saying me, meaning Rabbi Friedman, I can sum it up for you in one word: mamash.
Yeah.
So I'll leave you to that one because you're.
Thank you.
You know this.
Yes.
But I just wanted to say, oh my gosh, Rabbi Fine is speaking right now. So I went right from listening to that right into this room.
That's beautiful.
To see you, to be with you. Yeah.
By the way, thank you for sharing that. Thank you, Norm. Monday night we made a Fabringen, and the Fabringen was exactly about that one word. Or no, Tuesday night we made it. Yeah, sorry, today's Thursday. Tuesday night we did it on Clubhouse and on Instagram and on Facebook, so you can find it there if you didn't get a chance. If anybody wants to hear it, or you can go to TanyaRabbi.com and you'll get it there too. But yeah, that's cute. Thank you for sharing that. Beautiful. Huva has a question over here. Are there groups in these days who study other versions of Tanya or forged books that are considered to be forged copies of the Tanya? No, because it's under control. It was. I want to give some context to this, and I think it was. What's his name? Alan mentioned it. Yeah, in the Fabringen that we had. Yeah, Alan, you mentioned that he's here with us now. The misnagdim, as they're called back in the day, which there aren't today any, really, means those who were opponents to the Hasidic movement. There was a great fear then. There was very recent memory of false messiahs, and the most recent one was the Frankists, as they were called, after this person by the name of Frank, who was a false messiah. So when something new comes up, a new path in Jewish life, in Jewish teachings, there's always a concern: is this a true path? Is this real Torah, or is this just a diversion? Now there are movements out there that are a diversion from true Torah. By the way, I just want to say parenthetically, because it's important, I know some of you are in a conversion process. Please note that if you don't do it according to Torah, according to halacha, Jewish law, the conversion's not a good conversion. So you have movements that people end up going to, and they get converted, and it's not appropriate. You're not Jewish. You can't be, by the way, half pregnant. Either you are or you're not. You can't be half Jewish. So you can't go to a movement that is not halachic, not acceptable based in a court of Jewish law, and get a conversion. By the way, it's not even got to do with being Orthodox. Here in Montreal, there is a group of Orthodox Jews that do conversion, and it's not accepted. Here in Montreal, a group, and it's not accepted. Some rabbis, because whatever, I'm not going to go into the details. So it's not about, what's your affiliation? It's about, are you doing it according to Jewish law or not? Is it accepted based in? Is it accepted court or not? So I'm just putting it out there because I know several of you are, and if you want to private message me about that and you need some assistance, I can do my best to help you. So that's just an important point to put out there. So back in the day, there was a real concern about movements, um, and where those movements are going. So here comes Hasidim. They're doing things a little differently. You know, they can, on a drop of a dime, or even less, start dancing and be joyous. And back then, boy, come on, get serious. Learn, learn, learn. Become a scholar, scholar, scholar. Um, and, a chassid is a little different. Anyways, the point being is that back then, there were those who were so committed to the Jewish path and tradition that it shouldn't be, gone off the wrong path, that they were fighting against the Hasidim, again, this new thing that came to town, so to speak. And what is this? And so, there was some legitimate concern, but it was only legitimate until you investigate. But if you don't investigate properly and you're just taking the words of those who are, have an agenda, then it's not so, But that's why there was forged copies to show, oh, look at this, look at the Alter Rebbe, look at this man. His teachings are not exactly, appropriate and on-par teachings. And, that was a way to castigate him. But now we're talking about 200 years later. There isn't anyone today that doesn't accept the Tanya. I'm talking about from an observant point of view, from halachic authorities. There isn't anyone who doesn't accept the Tanya. Everybody accepts it. All sages. Now, that doesn't mean everybody learns it, because they might feel that there's other areas that they prefer to learn. Whatever. That's a different question. But it's all accepted. So therefore, we're not worried today that there's going to be forged copies. That's not an issue. And especially in our day and age, we're living in a different, we're living in a different time period where, everything becomes public knowledge immediately. Like even before someone did something, it's already, social media is telling you all about it. And that's a good metaphor for what we learned this morning. Yeah, amazing. All right, any other questions or any other sharing? Anna, what is a false messiah? How do we know he's a false messiah? When someone tells you to go away from any Torah teachings, that's a false messiah, right? So that's a false messiah. Or someone who predicts the future and it doesn't come true. That's a false prophet, at least. But if they claim, okay, Bella has a question. When the Rebbe talks about scholars that need to share their knowledge, is it also talking about the regular person who needs to share with another if they know more Torah than the other person? Very good question, Bella. So here the Alter Rebbe for sure is speaking about those who are a scholar and they have knowledge of the Tanya that they can share with others and help them to find their answers to their question that might not be so simple for them in their own learning. So that's specifically what he means here. But from there we do extrapolate or interpolate maybe. And as the Rebbe himself has said, our Rebbe, that if a child knows the letter Aleph, they should go out in the street and find another child and teach them the letter Aleph. So yes, folks, you know something that someone else doesn't know because you've learned Tanya today, and you've learned, for that matter, many of you for many days and weeks, and even some of you for years. Share it with another, absolutely. That is our generation. Yeah. Sandy's asking question is wearing a red string on your left wrist appropriate or not? I would say no. Okay? Do what you want, but it's not you know, I would say that that's not what we need to do. It's putting an emphasis in the wrong place. And it itself is questionable. Actually, that red string is questionable what the source of it is and if it's appropriate, source. But beyond that, it's it's putting emphasis in the wrong place. Instead of sharing the teachings, sort of like, self-protection. Are the prophecies of the Torah being fulfilled or not? Yeah. Okay. All right, folks. You're all amazing and wonderful to have you a part of. Well, I consider this my journey. It's our journey, actually. I should say it's really our journey. I'm not here just as a teacher, but I'm part of the journey. Because through this, and this is what the Alter Rebbe said today, right? That the eyes of both of us are enlightened. God gives life not just to you through the teaching, that I'm teaching and giving life. I'm getting life from this. And I actually had a question just to share with you personally that I've been teaching this for a long time, and maybe I should move on to different teachings or do something different or whatever. And as I spoke with a good friend and someone to guide me, I said no. There's no question. God needs this from me. No question that this is something that Rebbe wants that it should be continued. So here we are. We just finished the forward. Tomorrow we start chapter 1. And day in, day out, I invite you to be part of the journey that in 6 months from now, when we will finish these 53 chapters, if someone is not a different person, not just different, but like totally different, specifically for someone who's new at these teachings, whether you're Jewish or not Jewish, by the way, that's how powerful it is, right? Whether you're Jewish or not, although, specifically the Alter Rebbe is, he had his followers that came to him, so he knows what's in their heart, right? When it comes to the service of God. But really, it's the same for all of us, what's in our heart. The worries we might have, the issues that we might be going through, and, and how to be a good person, how to be a godly person. So, if you're not a changed person after 53 weeks, actually, I would suggest that that's not possible. I would suggest it's actually not even possible if we are focused in on the teachings and, and giving ourselves over to understand them. We've got to give ourselves over to understand them, right? That's, yeah. So, again, the invitation is there. I see some new faces, especially on Clubhouse. Don't be bashful. Continue coming in and enjoying the teachings. And again, if you have something you want to share, please do. A reminder, TRC today at 4:30. And Rambam is coming up right now on Zoom, 770-770-6085. That's the Zoom address every day, 7:05 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time, New York, Montreal time, Florida time, and other times. There's a class that I give every morning before our prayers over here. And then we do Chumash and Rashi. Chumash and Rashi. David, if you can put up the Zoom link, not just the numbers. Thank you. And Niente Televenta. So yes, so at 8:30 or 8:40, we do Chumash and Rashi. We do the Torah portion of the week. After a year, you're going to know the whole Bible, 5 books of Moses, right? Not Tanya Rabbi. That's one thing I'm talking about, the Zoom link. Thank you. Yeah, so we are doing the whole Bible with Chumash and Rashi, with Rashi's interpretation, which is simple meaning of the text. That's at 8:30. We do that till 9:30. And then we come here for Tanya. And then, what are we doing now? We're going to learn Maimonides, Rambam. Oh, okay, that's not the link. Okay. Well, give me a second, folks.
We could put it in this room as well, Rabbi, at the top. We could put in the same link.
Right.
I would like to see it.
Oh, you can do that? Or I need to do it?
Yeah.
You can do it?
No, a moderator has to do it.
Hold on. Okay, so just made you a moderator, so you could do that.
All right.
Okay.
And the link has to come to me back channel.
Oh. Okay. Now I'm a little Hold on. Hold on 1 second. Let me just get that. Hold on. Give me a second. Let me get the link. Give me a moment, folks. My apologies. Should have this beforehand. No. Okay, you know what? For some reason. I don't know how to do this so simply. All right, we'll have. Anyways, it's simple. 770 second time 6085. That's the Zoom. Okay. I wanted to make it as a link, so you just have to click it. But if you private message me, I'll do that. Okay. So we will continue tomorrow, 9:30 in Tanya, and all the other good things. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine coming to you from Chabad Zurich and Kadesh in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege, a pleasure to share with you, Tanya. Have an amazing